If you are thinking about filing for Social Security in the next 6 months, retirement benefits, disability, a survivor claim after the loss of a spouse, Medicare, SSI, the phone call you have not made yet may already be costing you money. Not next year, right now. Every month between the day you should have contacted Social Security and the day they actually process your claim is a month of benefits that may or may not reach you. And whether it does depends entirely on one specific date buried inside Social Security's own system, a date most people do not know exists until the money they were owed has already been lost. And here is what makes this urgent right now. A rule inside Social Security's operations manual quietly changed this past April. It made protecting that date harder than it used to be. Nobody sent a letter. Nobody made an announcement. And the people finding out about it are finding out the way most people find out about these things after several months of benefits have already disappeared. That is what this video is. And stay with me to the end, because I am going to give you the exact sentence to say when you get through on the phone, and the backup move that works even if the phone lines never answer, both take under a minute, both preserve the date, and both could be worth thousands of dollars. Now, if you are thinking, I am not ready to file yet, I have not decided when to start, this is exactly the video for you, because the move I am going to show you does not commit you to anything. It does not force you to file. It does not lock you in. It simply protects your date in case you decide to, so that if you do file 2 or 3 months from now, the money reaches back to today instead of starting from the day Social Security finally gets around to processing your paperwork. My name is Nolan Carter. I track the quiet rule changes buried inside government systems, the ones that decide whether the money you are owed actually reaches your hands. I believe that if a rule just changed in a way that can cost you months of benefits, you deserve to hear about it in plain language before those months are gone. If this is the kind of information you want reaching you before it costs you something, subscribe right now. This channel covers exactly this: the rules, the forms, and the deadline changes that rarely get explained clearly until the window has already closed. Now let me show you what this date actually is and why it matters more right now than it has in years. Inside Social Security's system, there is something called a protective filing date. Here's what it means in plain English. It is the date Social Security records that you expressed an intent to file for benefits. Not the date you completed the application. Not the date a representative finally processed your claim. The date you first contacted them and said you wanted to file. Why does that date matter? Because Social Security does not process claims instantly. It can take weeks, it can take months. For disability, it can take considerably longer. And without a protective filing date on record, your benefits start from the day your completed application is actually processed, not from the day you first tried to reach them. Here's what that looks like in real dollars. Say a widow loses her husband in March. She calls Social Security in March to file for survivor benefits. She sits on hold for 2 hours. Nobody picks up. She tries again the next week. Same result. She gets an appointment for May. The application is processed in May. Without a protective filing date from March, her benefits start in May. She has lost 2 months of survivor payments, potentially $3,000, $4,000 or more, simply because the system did not record her intent on the day she first tried. For SSI, the stakes are even more compressed. Your protective filing date is preserved for only 60 days. If you do not complete the application within that window, the date can be lost entirely. For retirement benefits, a delayed filing date can mean the difference between your payment starting this month and starting 3 months from now. At a benefit of $2,000 a month, that is $6,000 that either reaches your account or does not, based entirely on whether a date was recorded on the day you first made contact. This has always mattered, but it matters more right now because of what changed in April. On April 27th of this year, Social Security updated Section GN 00204, 10 of its Program Operations Manual, the internal rulebook employees use to process claims. That update changed how protective writings are handled. On top of that, the electronic protective filing tool that used to exist online was decommissioned back in late 2024. That easy digital path is gone entirely. And phone hold times at Social Security have stretched significantly. Automated systems and AI screening now handle a growing share of incoming calls before a human representative ever picks up, if one picks up at all. Put those three things together and you have a situation where the most common way people used to establish a protective filing date, calling Social Security and speaking to someone, has become unreliable. And the informal workaround that used to help, taking a screenshot of a long phone hold and showing it at a later appointment as proof of intent, is no longer being consistently honored. The result is simple and it is already happening. Seniors are losing months of benefits they were entitled to because their intent to file was never recorded on the day they first reached out, not because they did not try, because the system did not capture it. So let me show you the 3 ways to make sure it is captured reliably, verifiably, starting today. There are 3 ways to establish a protective filing date that are reliable, documented, and verifiable. Any one of them works. Pick the one you can do today. The first is an in-person visit to your local Social Security office. Walk in and say this exact sentence to the first representative who speaks to you. I have an intent to file for, and then name the benefit. Retirement benefits, survivor benefits, disability benefits, SSI, Medicare, whatever applies. Before you leave that office, ask them to give you written confirmation that your intent to file was recorded and the date it was recorded on. Do not leave without that piece of paper. The date on it is your protective filing date, and if your application is processed weeks or months later, your benefits can reach back to that day instead of starting from whenever the paperwork finally clears. Now, some people will say you need an appointment to walk into a Social Security office. In a routine situation, that is generally true. But if this is urgent, you just lost a spouse, you just lost employer health insurance, and need Medicare to start immediately, you are facing a gap in coverage. Walk in without an appointment and tell the person at the door that this is a time-sensitive situation and you need to establish a protective filing date today. You are not asking to complete an entire application on the spot. You are asking for one sentence to be recorded with a date on it. That is a short interaction and it preserves months of money. The second way, and this is the one I want you to remember most because it works even when the phones do not answer and you cannot get to an office, is a written letter sent by certified mail with return receipt requested. One letter, one sentence. Here is exactly what to write. I intend to file for Social Security and name the benefit type benefits. This letter is my protective filing statement. Then include your full name, your Social Security number, and your date of birth. Sign it, date it, take it to the post office, send it certified mail with a return receipt. The cost is under $10. The postmark on that envelope becomes your protective filing date, and the return receipt is your proof that Social Security received it. Keep a copy of the letter and the receipt in a safe place. This is the most reliable method available right now. It does not depend on phone hold times. It does not depend on whether AI answers your call. It does not depend on an appointment slot opening up next month. You can do it today, and the postmark protects you today. The third way is by phone, calling Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 and telling the representative that you intend to file for benefits. If you get through to a human, say this clearly. I want to establish a protective filing date for name the benefit type. Then ask for the representative's name, their office location, and written confirmation that your intent was recorded on today's date. Write all of that down yourself before you hang up. If they offer to mail or email confirmation, accept it. If they do not, your own written record of the call, the date, the time, the representative's name, and what you said is your backup documentation. But here is the honest reality about this third option. Phone hold times at Social Security have stretched considerably. Automated systems now screen a large portion of calls. Getting through to a human on the first attempt is not guaranteed, and a second or third attempt may push you into the following week or the following month. If that happens, do not wait for the phone to work. Send the certified letter the same day your call fails. The letter does not require anyone to pick up, it does not wait in a queue, it moves on its own timeline, and the postmark is the proof. Now, protecting your filing date is the first step, But there are mistakes that happen before you ever file that can quietly reduce the benefit you receive for the rest of your life. Errors in your SSA earnings record that lower your calculated benefit. The joint account setup that exposes your savings the moment your spouse files. Both of those are things to catch before you walk into that office, and both are laid out step by step in the Senior Money Defense Playbook. Link is in the description. Now let me deal with the fear that stops most people from making this call in the first place. There is a reason most seniors do not establish a protective filing date even when they know they are getting close to filing. They are afraid it locks them in. They think that if they tell Social Security they intend to file, they will be forced to go through with it, that the process starts rolling and they cannot stop it. That is not how it works. Establishing a protective filing date does not mean you have filed. It means your intent was recorded on a specific date. When your actual appointment comes, whether that is 2 weeks later or 3 months later, you sit down with the representative, they walk you through the numbers, and at that point you decide. You can ask them, what is my benefit amount if I start this month? What if I wait a year? What if I wait until 70? They will give you the figures. And if the numbers tell you it is better to wait, you say, thank you, I am going to come back next year. That is the entire conversation. You are not pressured. You are not forced. You walk away. The representative closes the file and moves on to the next case. There are only two narrow situations where Social Security can require you to file once you are there. The first is called deemed filing. If you file for benefits on your own work record and you are also eligible for benefits on a spouse's record, you are required to file for both. The second applies to people receiving SSI if you are on supplemental security income and you turn 62, or you become eligible for survivor benefits at 60. Social Security requires you to file for those benefits. Outside of those two specific situations, you are in full control. 20% sure you might want to start? That is enough. Establish the date. Get the numbers. Go home and think about it. If you decide not to file, nothing happens. If you decide to file 3 months later, your benefits can reach back to the day you first walked in instead of starting from the day you came back. That is the entire value of what we are talking about, and it costs you nothing but one sentence said out loud. Now let me deal with the situation that is actually causing people to lose money right now, because it is not that they did not try. It is that they tried the way they have always tried, and the system no longer works the way it used to. You call Social Security, you sit on hold for an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours. An automated system picks up, asks you questions, misunderstands your answers, routes you in a circle, and eventually the call ends without a human being ever speaking to you. You try again the next day. Same result. You tell yourself you will try again next week becomes next month, and by the time you finally get through or get an appointment, 1, 2, 3 months of benefits have quietly disappeared, not because you were denied, but because your intent was never recorded on the day you first picked up the phone. Here is the rule I want you to carry with you permanently. The moment a phone call to Social Security fails, the moment you sit on hold for more than an hour and nobody picks up, do not hang up and plan to try again tomorrow. Do one of two things that same day. The first, write the letter I described earlier. One sentence. I intend to file for Social Security. Name the benefit benefits. This letter is my protective filing statement. Your full name, your Social Security number, your date of birth. Sign it, date it, take it to the post office, and send it certified mail with return receipt. The postmark on that envelope becomes your protective filing date, regardless of whether anyone at Social Security picks up a phone this week, next week, or next month. Under $10. Takes 15 minutes. And it works every time because it does not depend on anyone answering. The second, if your local Social Security office is within driving distance, go there in person the same day. You do not need a completed application. You do not need every document gathered. You need one sentence said out loud to the person at the intake desk. I have an intent to file for benefits, and I need a protective filing date recorded today. Ask for written confirmation before you leave. That visit does not commit you to anything. It records a date, and that date can be worth thousands of dollars. The one thing that no longer works reliably, and I want to be straightforward about this because it used to work and a lot of people still believe it does, is assuming that a record of a long phone hold protects you retroactively. It used to be that you could show a screenshot of a 2-hour call at a later appointment and the representative would accept it as evidence of your intent. That is no longer being consistently honored. Do not rely on it. The certified letter and the in-person visit are the paths that hold up. Use one of them the same day the phone fails and the date is locked. One more thing about Medicare specifically, because this catches people at the worst possible moment. If you delayed Medicare Part B because you had health insurance through an employer and you have now lost that job or that coverage, you are in what is called a special enrollment period. You need Medicare to start quickly, sometimes within days. And the two forms you will need are CMS L564, which proves you had creditable employer coverage, and CMS 40B, which is the enrollment form for Part B. Do not file for Medicare online in this situation. Do not wait on the 800 number. Go to the local office in person with both forms, explain that this is time sensitive, and establish the enrollment date that same day. Waiting weeks for a phone appointment when you have no health insurance is a gap you cannot afford. Now, let me bring everything in this video together into exactly what to do this week. First, if you are even 20% sure you may file for any Social Security benefit in the next 6 months, retirement, disability, survivor, SSI, or Medicare, establish a protective filing date today. Not when you are ready to file, today. Use any one of the 3 methods. Walk into the local office and state your intent. Send a certified letter with return receipt, or call 1-800-772-1213 and get verbal confirmation with the representative's name and written follow-up. If the phone call fails, send the letter the same day. Second, when you establish the date, get proof. Written confirmation from the office, a return receipt from the post office, your own written record of the call date, time, representative's name. Store it with your important documents. That proof is your insurance if anything is disputed later. Third, remember that establishing a protective filing date does not force you to file. When your appointment arrives, ask for the numbers. Compare starting now versus starting later. If it is better to wait, walk away. The date stays on record. You lose nothing. You protect everything. Fourth, if you have already been waiting weeks or months for an appointment and you never established a protective filing date on the day you first contacted Social Security, call them today and establish one now. You cannot recover the months that have already passed, but you can stop losing any more starting today. And here is the larger picture underneath everything we just covered. Protecting your filing date is one step. But there are mistakes that happen before the filing date, during the filing process, and after your benefits start errors in your earnings record that silently lower your benefit for life, withholding traps that send money to the IRS a year before you owe it, and a survivor filing decision that can cost a spouse thousands of dollars if it is made in the wrong order. Every one of those is in the Senior Money Defense Playbook with the exact forms and the exact steps. If even one of them applies to your situation, catching it before you walk into that office changes the math permanently. Link is in the description. One honest note before we close. Everything in this video is general education, not personal legal or financial advice. Social Security rules, filing procedures, and processing timelines vary by individual circumstance. Always confirm your specific situation directly with the Social Security Administration or a qualified professional before acting on anything covered here. Now here's what I want you to do with this. Think of one person over 60 who has mentioned that they are thinking about filing for Social Security soon or who just lost a spouse and has not yet made the call. Send them this video. The rule that changed in April does not come with a warning. It does not announce itself. And the people it hurts most are the ones who are doing exactly what they were supposed to do, picking up the phone and trying to reach Social Security without knowing that trying is no longer enough. You can be the reason someone you care about protects their date before another month goes by. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so the next update finds you before it costs you anything. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.